was in decent haste in all this. It was hardly for me to say so. But it was a lowering occasion. Even Daphne murmured it was like valuing the estate for probate. One thing she had insisted on was that I be allowed to stay on in the empty shell of the house until it was sold. But there was never a chance of that. The minute she was out of the country, the horrible Bertie and Charlie began making my life a misery. On the excuse of packing up the house and keeping an eye on things, they virtually moved in themselves. "After all," said Bertie nastily, "we can hardly leave security in your hands." "I can look after the house," I argued. "I'm quite capable, you know." "You," said Bertie, "will fill the place with people like yourself. That's what people like you do. You'll turn it into a squat. Your friends will take up the floorboards for fuel, be overdosing on every banned substance known to man, writing obscene limericks on the walls and urinating in the garden." "I will not move anyone in," I yelled at him. "And what do you know about squatters anyway? What makes you think they all behave like that? Any squat I've lived in has had house rules, and everyone stuck to them. Either that or they were out. I bet I know more about keeping undesirables, as you'd call them, at bay than you do." "I'm a solicitor," Bertie said smugly, "so I do know a great deal about these things. Besides, how can we ask the estate agent to show prospective buyers round with you and that disgusting little dog camped in the kitchen? Aunt Daphne was out of her mind allowing you to stay over Christmas. Now I see you are interpreting her well-meant gesture as a virtual invitation to squat indefinitely. It was not so intended, and my brother and I mean to see you don't get away with it. You have no kind of contract to stay in this part of the house. You've paid no rent since you lost the basement flat. Out you go." "Thanks," I snarled, "and a happy new millennium to you too. By the way, why did that antique cabinet with the marquetry panels go off in a separate van to the rest? Why didn't it go in the lorry to the sale room with the other things?" "None of your business," he snapped. "However, Aunt Daphne told my brother and myself we could each have an item of our choice for sentimental reasons. I chose the dear little cabinet. It belonged to my grandmother, and I well remember it from when I was a boy." "Wow, pass the sick bag," I invited. "Spare me dear old grandma, at least. I bet sentiment's got a whopping big price tag on it by now." Bertie leaned towards me, his piggy eyes sparkling with malice. This was a man who really hated me. "In the words of the vernacular," he hissed, "get lost." So I did. I knew I couldn't win this one. He had a point about the estate agent. I suppose it wouldn't have looked good to a possible buyer to see me there. I put together the few belongings I had left, and took myself and Bonnie to Hari's newsagents to tell Ganesh of my eviction. "This will never do," said Hari, listening to my tale with growing dismay. Then he brightened. "I have an idea. You can stay in my garage until the council houses you." This was a big relief. It was also the moment to tell him there wasn't a hope in hell of the council offering me, single, childless, and not even born in the borough, a home. I have what they like to call low priority. It's an official way of saying bottom of the barrel. But Hari had worries enough. Why add to his concerns? I thanked him, and moved in towards the end of January. After this, 2000 could only get better, I hoped. I had to share my new accommodation with piles of boxes. The air whiffed of petrol and engine oil, though it was ages since Hari had kept any kind of motor vehicle in there. Transport was symbolised by a rusty old bike with flat tyres and no saddle. When the garage doors were shut, you had to keep the light on because there weren't any windows, but at least there was electricity. There was also a small door in the rear of the place leading into the backyard of the shop, so I could come and go that way. The main doors were kept locked for security. I'd got a folding bed and a sleeping bag and a Cala gas heater. I used the shop toilet and wash basin, and if I wanted a bath, I could go up to the flat over the shop where Hari and Ganesh lived and take one there. Some evenings I ate with them. So, to be fair, everything was by no means as bad as it sounds.